Hello, I am Dr. Brandon Meek, and this is the part that everyone is interested in. As Cuba Gooding Jr. said, show me the money, baby. Let's discuss the different types of compensation models. There are typically three types of compensation models that you will encounter in emergency medicine. Those are hourly pay, salaried, and productivity-based pay. Your employer will determine which model they utilize. It is important to understand the different types so that you can make an informed decision about which job to take. Hourly pay models sound very appealing and simple. You go to work, you get paid a guaranteed hourly wage, and you go home. This makes for a fairly consistent paycheck and easy to plan budget. Sounds perfect, right? It can be very nice if you work at a place where you are the only provider on shift. But what happens when you are working with one or two other providers? They are also being paid by the hour. How do you decide who sees the patient? In this scenario, there's actually an incentive to not work hard. You will make the same money regardless of how many patients you see. Obviously, this can cause strife between coworkers, especially if there's a difference in company ownership. Salaried providers fall into the same category as hourly. Very nice to budget with, but there is no incentive to see patients. So how do you incentivize physicians to see patients? You pay them based on their productivity. This rewards a physician for hard work and can positively impact performance metrics and throughput. Throughput is a hot topic among all EM groups and will be a consideration for nearly every emergency medicine contract negotiated in the future. Again, sounds perfect, right? Well, there are a few downsides to productivity-based pay. Obviously, it is volume and acuity dependent. If there are no patients, you don't make any money. If staffing is done inappropriately, you may make less money. It is important to evaluate any job that uses this model and ask questions regarding their staffing models. This type of compensation model can also lead to a slight variation in paychecks from month to month. Overall, however, this model rewards the hard-working physician and encourages good practice in metrics. So the real question is, how do productivity-based physicians get paid? This answer requires a definition. Productivity-based physicians get paid based on generated RVUs. Okay, so then what is an RVU? RVUs are the key part of the resource-based relative value scale. Basically, under this scale, every procedure or service gets assigned a relative value unit. In other words, it gets a value that situates it relative to other procedures or services. Let's talk about an example. It's easier to understand. A mid-level 99213 office visit had a relative value unit of 1.68 in 2008. The even less complicated process of removing earwax had an RVU of 1.26. Total hip replacement, big RVUs of 37.66. You see, these are values that express what it takes to do each service relative to other services. Removing earwax involves less than replacing a hip. Medicare uses that as a basis for deciding what to pay for each service or procedure. Most commercial payers follow the Medicare model. Every CPT code, every imaginable kind of service or procedure listed in the Common Procedural Terminology Manual put out by the American Medical Association has an associated relative value unit, and Medicare changes the RVUs every year and publishes this total list online. To find out what RVUs are associated with the code you use, you can go to the annual physician fee schedule published by Medicare. That was kind of boring, so let's talk about how it appeals in the real world. The unstated but often related question is why in the world practices measure productivity using such a complex method. Suffice it to say, assessing productivity can be a huge issue in any group practice. Every physician is pretty much convinced that he or she is working harder than everybody else. And sure, you can compare the number of ED visits that each one does, or the number of procedures, or even collected revenue per physician. But here's the problem. If Dr. Slow sees fewer patients per day or per year, he'll be quite sure it's because he sees all the high acuity patients, the ones that take a lot of diagnostic skill or hand-holding, while Dr. Greedy over there just does quick procedures and gets his easy patients in and out. Or if Dr. Rich collects more, that's because he refuses to see Medicaid patients, the big meanie. You can see how these conversations are not so good for group longevity. RVUs offer a decent alternative. The work RVU is meant to capture the amount of work done. For example, if a physician sees a patient that is more critical or needs more help, she'd pick a code that reflects the greater intensity of service and with it the related higher work RVU. She then gets paid based on her work that she performed, and nobody can argue with that. Just make sure you evaluate each type of compensation model based on where you will be working. One type of model may make more sense than another based on volume and staffing models. There are many potential other benefits offered by all of these models, and these are things that you must evaluate. They can add value to your overall compensation package, and it's very nice if you can find an employer who will provide some or all of these things. The things to look for are health and dental insurance, disability insurance, and malpractice coverage. These can be very expensive to you if you're required to purchase these separately. Also, find out if the employer offers 401k plans or matching funds. They may offer CME allowances or business reimbursement accounts. Some groups even offer professional dues and other incentives. It's very important to ask the group about these incentives. Finally, let's talk about the differences between claims made and occurrence malpractice insurance coverage. The limits of coverage are very different. With the claims made coverage, the limits will apply to incidents arising on or after the policy retroactive date and which are reported during the term of the policy. This means that claims made coverage may or may not apply to acts prior to the policy, so a retroactive date is very important. This also means that claims made coverage will not apply to incidents outside of the term of the policy. So if you get a claim within the statute of limitations, but after the policy expires, you will need separate coverage for that claim. This is called tail coverage. Tail coverage can be very expensive and must be obtained every time a new policy is started. An easy answer to these problems with claims made coverage is to go with an occurrence-based policy. As far as the limits of coverage, these limits respond to incidents arising from the coverage period regardless of when those claims are reported. This requires no prior acts coverage and no tail coverage. This policy covers incidents that occur during the policy period no matter how much later they are reported. So the question is, why doesn't everyone just get occurrence-based coverage? Well, occurrence-based coverage is very expensive. You're essentially prepaying for the tail coverage from the beginning and throughout the policy. Many groups may pay for your claims-based coverage, but may not cover your tail if you leave. This is very important to ask any potential employer. This could be a significant cost to you in the future. Obviously, it is easier to work for a group that provides occurrence-based coverage, although this is much harder to find nowadays.
Thank you, Dr. Meek. Questcare Partners has a lot to offer new graduates who desire opportunities to grow with a democratic group. We have had our main contract for over 13 years, and we have never lost an ED contract since we started. We are always looking for positive growth opportunities. But in order to continue providing the highest quality care, we have to hire and retain the best and the brightest physicians we can. That's where you come in. You will be well compensated as a Questcare partner. One of the best benefits we offer is occurrence-based malpractice. As Dr. Meek mentioned, this means you never have to have a tail policy. We offer a variety of other benefits, including a 401k, health and dental insurance with an HSA. As an added bonus, we'll even pay your ACEP dues. All of those pale in significance when you consider the partnership opportunity we offer. This 2-year track consists of regular evaluations with your medical director to make sure everything is going as planned. At the end of the 2 years, for a very low buy-in, you receive a 10% raise and an equal share of any profit distribution. You also have the right to vote and run for the board of directors and officer positions. Questcare Partners is dedicated to developing our own people. We expect our partners to be involved at the local facility level on hospital committees. Questcare also has several committees including finance, risk, team building, and legislative committees. We offer a leadership track designed to grow our own leaders for future management positions and opportunities. The Questcare Foundation is a philanthropic organization which the individual partners help to support. Questcare benefits from having several programs that enhance job satisfaction. We have our own scribe program known as Questcare Doc Assist that is available to our physicians. We optimize our staffing models to include the appropriate use of mid-levels in our emergency departments. We have a number of different practice environments that include emergency departments with teaching services, trauma facilities, and your typical community hospital. We maintain excellent relationships with our hospital administrators and our nursing colleagues. We employ and help develop the latest cutting-edge technology in our emergency departments. To further describe this is Dr. Harvey Castro.
My name is Dr. Harvey Castro. I'm an emergency room physician with Questcare. Our facilities are state-of-the-art. Allow me to share some examples of how Questcare stands apart from other groups. For example, all of our emergency rooms have an electronic documentation system in place. The software is easy to use and makes it easier to look up past ED visits in the facilities that we serve. Our facilities have bedside labs available and digital radiology. Radiologists are readily available and provide quick service. One of my biggest worries as a resident was losing my ultrasound skills. All of our emergency departments have a bedside ultrasound or access to an ultrasound machine that we can use in the department. Questcare has an ultrasound regional director that keeps our physicians up to date with the latest trends and applications in ultrasound. We currently have telemedicine at several of our facilities. This technology allows me to have a neurology consultant one click away. This equipment will continue to expand to other specialties. Physicians will be able to triage patients remotely when the department gets busy. It is this forward thinking that sets Questcare on the frontier of technology in the ED. As an iPhone application and software developer, I have enjoyed working in the state-of-the-art ER. I have created over 31 iPhone and iPad apps. Most of the iPhone apps are healthcare related. Being part of Questcare allows me the opportunity to help bridge the needs of emergency medicine with technology. We also have an intranet for Questcare where many emergency medicine educational materials are readily available. One effective use of our intranet is with the Questcare Peer Review Committee. This robust committee focuses on those cases where we could have done better. The committee meets and makes their recommendations, after which a link is sent to the intranet where the anonymous peer review summary is posted along with the literature review and teaching points. This allows us all to learn from these difficult cases. We have LLSA parties where we discuss the latest LLSA articles and how these affects our practices. We also use web conferencings for meetings and updates on our company. In summary, Questcare is on the forefront of technology and constantly looking for ways to make our emergency departments run more efficiently. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Minnie Dallas Shaw, and there are several reasons to consider taking a job in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The passage of tort reform, known as Proposition 12, has added to the state's reputation as a physician-friendly state. In addition, there are no state or local income taxes, and the cost of living is significantly lower than other major cities. There is also a wide array of housing options in the Metroplex. You may choose to live in the smaller, more intimate community in the suburbs or relocate to the swanky, hip, uptown or downtown areas. The options are endless and the neighborhoods are varied and unique. There are a multitude of school options with many exceptional public and private schools that excel in academics, the arts, and athletics. And when you need to travel, Dallas has two major airports, vast multi-lane highways, and a light rail system that makes traveling quick and convenient. Many of our partners have particularly enjoyed the area because of the incredible sport teams and venues. The newly revamped Dallas Arts District, the Winspear Opera House, Meyerson Symphony Center, and esteemed Dallas and Fort Worth museums are also amazing perks of living in the area. The large population and central location mean the Metroplex is a frequent stop for touring musicians, and couple good music with outstanding restaurants, and you will have experienced Dallas-Fort Worth's vibrant entertainment scene. And for those who love to shop, DFW offers some of the best malls and boutiques in the country. Not only do we have the appeal of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but the exciting opportunities in San Antonio and El Paso. Who could pass on a night out on the Riverwalk or a day trip with the family to SeaWorld? And El Paso offers great access to exhilarating outdoor sports in the beautiful mountains and a gorgeous climate. One of the greatest benefits of joining Questcare is gaining an instant group of friends who will support and encourage you as you transition out of residency. Years of recruiting the best and brightest means that you will be joining a team that you will be proud to work with and eager to socialize with. It will be apparent as you visit the different Questcare facilities that the group functions as a team or family, with partners staying late after a shift to catch up or offering to help each other out when a new baby arrives or when your favorite band or team is in town. It's less tangible than turnaround times and difficult to measure, but the greatest asset to Questcare is the quality of physicians that make up the group. For more information, please call or email Sharon Hurst, our physician recruiter. We are looking forward to hearing from you and are eager to update you of all the exciting opportunities available in Questcare.